What does this sound like? That's raindrops when you're inside of a car. Watch. Hey, man. Pleasure to be here. Name's Guitkit. Guitar is my thing, man. You know what I'm saying? It's my thing. So, welcome if you're just joining us. Welcome back. I see some familiar faces, which makes me happy. So anyhow, today we're going to be talking about this instrument behind me. This is a Collegiate guitar, a genuine Collegiate guitar, PMI Corp, New York. Now, those people out there who are very astute guitar individuals be like, oh yes, I see what he's doing. Last week he talked about that post Oscar Schmidt zither. Now he's talking about a real Oscar Schmidt product. I mean, that's being distributed by another entity. I understand. Collegiate was manufactured by Oscar Schmidt pretty much exclusively. Well, yes, up until a certain point. And that certain point was the final nail in the Oscar Schmidt coffin, man. I'm gonna set up the scene for you, because I know a lot of you people like scenery, man. So I gotta set up the scene because I am an actor. All right. So anyway, this is what happened, man. The Depression hits. Harmony starts struggling, man. Harmony, like all kinds of arrows through it, man. The Depression was starting to kill off all the music companies, the big ones, man. Harmony was one of the biggest. Now, the Sears catalog sort of was making it through the Depression all right, man, because people still needed to live, right? Sears actually expanded during that, you know what I mean? That's why getting a little bit more, retail oriented in the mind, man. Bring it directly to the people. You know what I'm saying? That might have sealed Sears' fate ultimately too, but that's a different tale for a different day. So Sears decides Harmony is one of our biggest contractors on the music end. You know what I'm saying? Let's just buy the company. That way we don't have to haggle with Harmony. Oscar Schmidt was like number 2, K. You know what I mean? Sears is pretty much dealing with all of them. Regal, I think. You know what I mean? They're pretty much dealing with every one of them and playing them. You know what I mean? Like, you know, but it's like, we just own the fucking company. We don't have to play anybody. We just make whatever we make. And we pay what we made to pay for it. You know what I'm saying, man? We don't pay anything additional. We own it. You know what I'm saying? We get all the profits, man. So Sears, you know what I mean, bought up Harmony, right? And Oscar Schmidt happened to be, you know what I mean, to have Sears was their number one client. They weren't as big as Harmony by any means, man. But, you know, a little bit of work for a little New Jersey company, you know what I mean, from Sears, you know, during the early days of the Depression, losing that was like, you know what I'm saying? So they were freaking the fuck out. Now, their other big contract, I told you, man, PMIC, man. That's what it's called, man. PIMCO. Now, there's a lot of information about PIMCO, the distributors out there. It's been documented because they distribute a lot of horns. People who collect horns, play horn, whatever it is, man, you know what I'm saying? They're really, 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 you know, they got all the information. So we're lucky that this particular company distributed horns, you know what I mean, because a lot of their information was preserved. Now, it started off the year 1900. The Landy brothers, who? Dr. Landy, man. Dr. Landy, no, not Dr. Landy. The Landy brothers came originally from, I believe, Riga, Latvia, settled in New York, you know what I'm saying? Set up a music, you know what I mean, shop. Just a music store, really. There's nothing bigger than that, man. It was just a little brother and brother. Not mom and pop, but it was 2 brothers, man. You know, hang out, you know what I mean? From Riga, man. Hey, man, you want an instrument, man? I sell you this instrument. You like this, man? You like this? You take it, man. You give me some money. It's be yours, man. So these guys, like, they flourished, man. They flourished. 2 immigrants, you know what I mean, made the big time. By 1923, they decided to set up a distributorship, catalog, everything, man. And they did so, $100,000 in capital. It was headline news in some of the local papers, man. The Landy brothers were in the money. And this is, you know what I mean, 1923. You know what I mean? This is the big boom before the bust, man. You know what I'm saying? So, at that time, there was a huge, in this country, a huge, like, little instrument thing, man. We had the banjo, right? We had the ukulele, and we had the mandolin. Very, very, very popular from like 1915 to like 1925 in this country, man. hugely popular. So all the companies were churning out these little guys everywhere, man. So they got a huge contract, Pimco, you know what I mean, for Oscar Schmidt to make them all their little other stuff, man. And that's where the Collegiate brand started, were these little tiny ukuleles that they were, selling like hotcakes. 1923, right when they opened their doors. That was one of their first big products, on the stringed instrument side. The horns were the other thing, Horns were really was like the gravy, man. So the Collegiate line was basically all the guitars and ukuleles. That's what they were marketed under, Collegiate. It was pretty big label, East Coast, New York, metropolitan area. You know what I'm saying? It came, pretty big. Now the Landy brothers just kept on growing, man, growing and growing, man. They made it through the Depression. They made it through, the war. And then right after the war, Landy dies, man. Has a heart attack, 1951, and the company's done. But they had a real hard time, during the war. After the war, in the early days of the war, they got by selling sheet music. They did a lot of, money sheet music style. You know what I mean? But, you know what I'm saying? They really weren't able to make any money because everybody was off at war. And after the war, they had a hard time reorganizing. And by 1947, when they started reorganizing and they reapplied for some of their old trademarks and brands and stuff, Collegiate wasn't one of them. Collegiate was done. They already gave up. You know what I mean? So they were fizzling out. They really, after 1938, you know what I mean? Forget about them. You know what I mean? Pimco was pretty much a done deal. Now, let's talk about the country, musical styles in the 20s, the early 20s. People started like getting tired of little things, man. And the guitars became real popular. That's when the first #1 selling record, 1924, The Prisoner's Song, Vernon Dalhart. I love you, Vernon. Guitar song, man. I wish I had someone to love me. I'm telling you. Look it up, man. Guy on the guitar. So guitar turned into the thing, man. The Collegiate, line kept pumping out guitars. They changed this label in the early 30s. That's in here. I'll show you, man. You know what I'm saying? Can you see that, man? Well, I'll show you on the slab, man. I don't want to jump the gun, man. We want to have some stuff to talk about in a little bit, man. Anyway, early 30s, you know what I'm saying? Oscar Schmidt was still making it. So, you know what I mean? They made it through, 29, 30s. And then all of a sudden, Pimco canceled the contract. What the fuck, man? That was the end. End of Oscar Schmidt, 1938. You know what I'm saying? They were done shop. But when was the actual contract canceled? Well, like 1936 roundabout. That's right around the time this guitar came out. Why? Who was the replacement? Who replaced this person in the throes of the Depression, man? The back of this thing, I don't know if you can see it. Man, see at the top of it? See, man, I can't see it, man. Again, you will see it. It says real faintly here, Japan, man. Made in Japan, man. I don't know who made in Japan, but Pimco, without a doubt, during the Depression sometime, was the first company to start distributing, guitars from Japan, man. Yep, that's right, man. They were the first one in 1936, people. 34, roundabout. You know what I mean? And that was pretty much the end of Oscar Schmidt, man. All they had left was their Stella line. Couldn't really hold the muster. They were only around a couple more years. Harmony eventually bought all their assets, as we talked about last week, in bankruptcy. So this is not part of our 130th Harmony extravaganza. This is part of our Collegiate. Our Collegiate, where are they now, man? So I want to flip you around. This guitar, you know what I mean? One of the first Japanese guitars of all time, really. I mean, Japan followed the craze. They started, the underground. Japan got real into the guitars, you know what I mean, right around the time. And ukulele, too, is real big in Japan. The island of Japan, I love the ukulele. You know what I mean? But the underground, it was frowned upon by the old people who liked Western culture. But, you know what I mean, once that generation sort of, by the 20s and 30s, guitar was real big in Japan, and they had all kinds of little factories all set up. I don't have no idea where this came from, man. But it's a Japanese guitar from the 30s, early, mid-30s, roundabout, man. Because I don't really know the actual dates. I just know the truth, man. So I'm going to flip you around. We're going to look at it. It's been really fucked up. It's been revarnished a little bit. I think it's got new tuners from like the 40s sometime. You know what I mean? It's got a weird playing pattern on it. It's got all kinds of straight stuff to talk about. We like to do that. We like to talk. This is a real old guitar, man. One of the first Japanese guitars ever. Around about 1935. Collegiate, man. Let's check it out. I'll flip you around. careful. Wait a minute. Nobody's getting hurt. Not one person. Alright, folks. So here it is, man. Now look a little closer, you can see what I mean. This might have a little bit more varnish on it. Looks like it has been definitely upkept, repaired with care. This was somebody's loved instrument. It's got some stories to tell, man. So we'll go over it, you know what I mean? Superficially, we'll tell a couple more stories, man. You know what I'm saying? The two strings that remain on it are steel strings. You know what I'm saying? And if you look carefully at the grooves in this bridge, which seems to be original, it seems like this guitarist only had steel strings. You know what I'm saying? I'm kind of leery, considering it's about a 90-year-old guitar, to put steel strings on it. I have no idea how long it's been derelict. But I think it's probably been derelict since the 1970s, 1960s, late 60s, early 70s. I saw a Lori, I believe it was, guitar that was all fucked up right next to it, and it had the same weird excessive wear pattern on the, in the 7-Eleven fucking thing, man. I'll go over that in a second, man. It was a Lori. It was real fucked up. That must have been guitar number 2. I believe they were sold at Sam Goody Lori guitars. They're some kind of, Korean import. I don't really know much about it. It was so bad I didn't even buy it for parts. And I paid $5 for this at the swap meet, man. Like a kid and his mom selling a whole bunch of old stuff, man. He had 2 guitars in front of his table. This is one of them, and the other was that Lori I was telling you about. It's probably Grandpa's old guitars, man. That's what I'm thinking, man. It looks like there was at one point some kind of strap button that's been filled in. You know what I mean? Some kind of little operation done, filling the butt plug. We don't need no more plugs, son. We're sitting down from now. You know what I'm saying? People get their own style after a while, man. There's that Collegiate guitar label. This started, happening in like the late 20s. This appeared on all the ukuleles. You know what I mean? The second wave. All the guitars. And they were obviously all made by Oscar Schmidt. This actually looks like an Oscar Schmidt guitar. I thought it was, when I bought it. Until I got it home and looked at it. I was like, wow, look at that. That's bizarre, man. So this, is the label, you know what I mean? Pimco. That's Progressive Music Instrument Corporation. Corp, I believe, it wasn't corporation. That's a age of, you know what I mean? The progressive era, man. Woodrow Wilson, and the, you know what I mean? Teens ushered in the progressive era, which was a way to change things for the people's better, I believe. The progressive era was, you know what I'm saying? The progressive movement. You know what I mean? It was a Democrat thing, you know what I mean? Doesn't really make too much sense when you think about it. Anyway, so they were real proud of being progressive, you know what I'm saying? And they were all progressive about it. And that's why they named it Progressive, you know what I'm saying? Progressive soup, man. Can't tell you more because I told you already. Frets are in okay condition. Let's talk about this fret wear pattern. You can see this guitar has had the shit played out of it. The shit played out of it. This guy, though, whoever was playing the shit out of it, refused to play the 7th fret and anything past the 11th fret. Refused to. There's heavy wear. Like heavy wear. You know what I mean? All the frets except for this one. This seems to be original finish, too, man. Isn't that fucking bizarre, man? Isn't that bizarre? There's the original finish here, man. You can tell. You see, he's got the overlap coming here from where he did the top, but you know what I mean? He didn't do the fretboard, didn't put any finish on it. Yeah, this looks like a refinish from the 40s, and I'll tell you why in a second, man. I'll tell you why. It's like 10 years after he had it. He decided to spruce it up a little bit. Got a real bone nut, which is cool, man. This is Cosent Ninja Hosoto Yoko Hosoto. Right? See here, man. A lot of the progressive ones had like a little sticker right here. Water slide leak. I think you can barely see it, man. Maybe not. Maybe it never had one. This was like a late era. It seems that these frets, at some point, some of them fell out. It looks like he hammered it back in. Doesn't look like he removed them at any point intentionally. It looks like this one, like that one, and you know what I mean. One or two of them might have fallen out at one point. Sort of hammered them in kind of in the wrong place. You know what I mean? It seems like it's got bad, but it doesn't really have bad. You know what I mean? It's round over. It's just, you know what I'm saying? These frets probably fell out. This is an early Japanese guitar, people. It has these Waverly bells from the 40s that have been put into place after the original Japanese ones take a shit. You could tell by just that big screw in there. These are like, you know, like 1949, 1950 bells, you know what I'm saying? Right after they got past that little, you know what I mean? This is like the earliest ones with like a screw in the gear. There it is right there. You can see it very clearly. I'll just see it clearest. See that, Japan? Oh. You know what I'm saying? And this has to be around the 30s, because if it was, you know what I mean, never be distributed during the war, of course, right? Japanese goods, of course not. You know what I mean? And after 45, everything said, you know, occupied Japan up until 1950, I believe. I believe it said, and he, you know, wasn't even pursuing it by 47. Wasn't pursuing the guitars and ukes. We already know that just by his, you know, trademark application re-uppings, man. This is got the same, you know, kind of over paint, possibly. Maybe not. I don't know, man. I don't know if he's filled that in either. Maybe not. I'm just looking for flaws. Seems to be a real solid instrument, actually. Now that I'm looking it over, you know, this might have been filled in. It's got great action. You know, might be because it's missing that nut. You can cut a real tiny nut, you know, out of binding or something. Doesn't seem there's too much work to do. You gotta scrub this crayon off of here, it looks like. Clean it off, take off these strings, man. Looks to be pretty much it, man. I can't see anything really too fucked up about this beautiful instrument, man. See, that was one of the first Japanese guitars. Oh, there's a crack. Look at that. Didn't see that. Just discovering this now, people. Feels like it's been treated, though. I feel like this was treated. Or maybe glued. See that? I'm feeling the treatedness of it. We'll pump a little glue into there ourselves, man. I just noticed that. There. In the laboratory. Oh, there's another one on this side. There's a bunch of them. Spoke too soon, Bobby G, man. You didn't even inspect your instrument, man. Yep. Hey, man. No big deal. No big whoop, man. You know what I'm saying? That 7-Eleven's just crazy, though, man. Isn't that crazy? And the Lowry one, you know what I mean? It was the same wear pattern. You know, this dude never played on the 7th fret, and he never played anything past, you know, this is the 12th fret right there, man. 7-11, man. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, but he played the fuck out of it, though, man. Yeah. Looks like he's done a fret job on it, you can tell. These have been planed even in the cowboy area. What a crazy tale, man. Some of these old guitars tell. So there it is, 1930s. You know what I'm saying? Pimco, Collegiate, Japanese. You know what I'm saying? This is when they dumped our man, you know what I mean, Oscar Schmidt, right in the toilet bowl and flushed him down like the Schmidt that he was, man. You know, funny thing is, their demise in 38 was pretty much the guitar's demise in general with Pimco. You know what I'm saying? They pretty much were done with it. The country was kind of done with it. You know what I'm saying? They had to get rid of fascism, global fascism. It's a different world, people, man. Different world, man. All right, people. So be peaceful. Let's see you in the laboratory. You know what I mean? We'll talk a little bit more. We'll have these strings off. You know what I'm saying, man? We'll talk about our cleanly process, how we're going to get this guy all cleaned up. And what kind of preservation tactics we're going to take. Now, right before I take the strings off, I want you to notice something, because I think this is like you can get some information about the state of this guitar from this. See how just the A and the B strings are on here? I think they're put on here for a reason. He's playing after I take him off, man. Just remember that. Remember that. Remember me. And there we are, people. We've got strings off there. Now, I want you to take good notice of that string thing, because it looks to me this has been scrubbed real well. I scrubbed that with a Brillo pad over Ma's wash tub out back. I mean, he took years and years worth of shit off here. Looks like he did a little fret job. It looks like there were some things he worked at it easy. Look like they've been brought down a little bit, you know, especially on this one. You know what I mean? And usually when you have those two strings on there, it's to test it like a fret job. And I think he put the strings on there, you know, test it out. I did a good job. It all worked out. I'll go down and say I'm good as that music store down there and see if I can get myself a saddle nut here. You know what I mean? Went down there looking for a saddle nut. Ooh, this lower guitar is very nice. It's probably the same cost as a new saddle nut, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, like $15 for one of those in the late 60s. I mean, saddle nut was what, $10? I don't know. $1.35. Probably didn't even have it, you know what I mean? I mean, where you get a saddle that would fit a 1933 thing? You know what I'm saying? It didn't happen, people. It's my theory, man. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. You know what I'm saying? Scholarship, people. So anyway, we get to inherit the earth, man, the meek of us. This lure here has a beautiful 7th fret. I'm never going to play it. It's a version 7. Don't you touch her on her 7. Don't you dare touch old Wendell on her 7. So let's take a look at these crackers, man, on the side of this. What are you talking about crackers, boy? It's your manners, son. Now listen. See that, man? It has been treated. You know how it has been treated, man? Because you've been outpacement treating yourself. See that? You can see the glue. I want to get real close up on here. These people on the city folks who watch these videos on the computers are all fucking real investigators. See that, man? You can see the glue coming forward. See that glue coming forward? And this side as well. See that big one down there? See that? All these people are junior sleuths, man. See how he was a junior sleuth there? So the only one I see that's not treated is this guy right here. You know what I mean? If that's even really a crack, man. It might not even be a crack. I shine a line on it, man. Might just be a scratch, man. I don't know, man. We're going to put a little bit of glue over all of them just so, you know, I don't know what kind of... This glue is made out of dung. I have no idea what kind of glue that was. We want to just make sure it's all fortunate. Other than that, man, it's pretty nice. I want to knock the shine off this a little bit because you can tell, you know, I mean, this is a homespun affair. Your Uncle Bill and I helped myself paint it a little bit. And we didn't do such a good job as I specialized. I want to get kind of like a matte thing going on this guy. Yeah, like that guy I seen on television. Matt Damon. Or Matt Dillon. One of them two Matts. Doormat. Nothing else to say, man. Nothing else to say. So let's get that glue happening. I happen to be a good gluer myself. It might be a little crack here. Yeah, let's glue him too. It takes 10 to tangle, son. Just the 10 of us. Alright, people. See you in a moment. Alright, folks. So, we got it glued up. One of the cracks I didn't really show you was this one right here. It's a pretty substantial crack. You know, we did the ones on the side. Looked like he pretty much attended to all the ones that need to be attended to. Looks like he was attending this one. I mean, not long before he, you know, abandoned this guitar. I found underneath here that this goes all the way kind of back. This crack almost to the back here. And it looks like he did glue it. I found like this, I don't know, 70-year-old piece of masking tape. Masking tape is actually invented in the 20s and pretty much it looks the same. I mean, if you take a look at this masking tape here, you know what I'm saying? The adhesive's kind of got that little sheen. I got this cheeseburger masking tape here. It's like the same exact thing. You know what I'm saying? It's the same exact thing. See, look closer. You look at the adhesive. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It's like almost the same fucking thing, man. 70, 80 years. So it looks like that, you know what I mean? It looks like there was one basic restoration done on this guitar, like a big one, like 1951. I mean, it looks like there was originally like a 3-point pick guard. You know what I mean? Where's the other one? Right here. 1, 2. You know what I mean? 3. One for good luck. I don't know what that one's for. And they repainted. You know what I mean? You can see some serious paint drippage. At least over here somewhere. See the paint drip. You know what I'm saying? And he also replaced the tuners with these. These are from, like I said, around about 1951. You know what I'm saying? So that was the major one, and he did a couple other little restorations, here and there, till he found that Lurie guitar at Sam Goody's. So we got this all glued out, man. Let's let this dry up real good. See when that's accomplished, man. When we accomplish that, peace be with you, all of you. Alright, so that glue's all dried up in there, man. And I pumped some glue in and everything else that looked a little bit suspect. You know what I mean? There's another crack right in here, too. Didn't even look any kind of crack like, man. I was just pumping a little glue in there. It's like the fucking miraculous thing. There's a shit inside of it. Anyway, man, I just want to talk real quick about the cleat or not the cleat. Because I know I showed you in that Uruguayan guitar a couple weeks ago. I put a big cleat, right when we had a crack just like this, kind of. Well, that crack was intense, man. That crack was like a millimeter thick. You know what I mean? It was like the Grand Crack crying. You know what I mean? And the wood had already warped, so, you know what I mean, fucked up that we need something there to sort of put it on there. I'm kind of an anti-cleat, man. I think that you can fill in, you know what I mean, a crack with like some real good, you know what I mean, glue that it's not going to go anywhere. It's just a Type-On. Hard to get off. Luther's like, don't use Type-On on a guitar, man. You'll never be able to get it off. Well, I'm not looking for it to come off, pal. You know what I mean? I'm looking for the shit to last forever, you know what I mean? Really, honestly. You know what I mean? If I fuck it up, I got other guitars, man. Anyway, that's why you don't fuck it up. There's a couple things I want to attend to, really. Like I said, some of these frets look like they've been, they've come off. Like, you know what I mean? They're uneven. I want to even it out, try to hammer them down a little bit, pull them out and hammer them back in, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to take them out if I don't have to because all the notes rang true, when we had those 2 strings on here. So let's fix that up, man. I'll come right back at you. There you go, man. Got this like 150-year-old tack hammer, man. This thing's from like 1870, man. It's old as hell, man. Anyway, man, I just sort of like laid it down aside and I just tapped them until there was like, a perfect round over. Hear that, man? I was like, Night Rider, man. Michael, there's somebody approaching. And then I just took my little level. It's all fucked up now. But essentially what I did, I just went over the ones that we moved around and make sure, there was no change in level. They're all perfect level, man. And still we're in good business, man. So now what we're going to do, man, it's kind of dirty, man. Kind of old dirt urchin, man. Let's get a little bit of this old furniture polish on here, man. Let's get a little bit of Polish with you, man. Polish pride, man. Let's clean it up a little bit everywhere, man. Everywhere, Luke. Use it. Don't lose it. Or abuse it. Yes, be with use it. And now it's got the super sheeny shine. Sounds like a fucking rain stick, man. So much shit inside of it. And so, our ancestors dwelt upon the lake. Anyway, man. So, I want to finish talking about those cleats, man, actually, because I was telling you about, I'm anti-cleat, and I don't want you to get the wrong impression. I think that sometimes gluing excessive amount of shit to the soundboard ruins the sound of a guitar, especially you'll hit a bass note and you'll hear that shit vibrating around. You know what I mean? Sometimes there's no way to prevent that. No matter how great you have it glued there, man, it's going to rattle around. Anything that's part of the soundboard other than a brace, man, you know what I mean, has to be, part of that wood, man. It's just true, man. I'm anti-cleat. If you can get it glued and it's no longer going to crack any further, you know what I mean, you've secured that wood and as one piece, you're fucking solid, man. There's no need for no excess wood glued to the back of the soundboard or dampers it. That Uruguayan guitar, I think, suffered, even though it needed it. I think the sound would have been a lot better had it not been cleated. That's right, Cletus. Anti-cleat, man. Anyway, so you look at this. The neck, particularly the headstock, has never been refinished on this guitar. This is what the guitar really should look like at this point. Look at the back of there. What's that, man? It really is full of shit, man. But this has been, has like a couple coats of varnish on there or something, man. Shellac, I don't know. Lacquer, I don't know what they put on here in the 50s. Shellac, maybe? Lacquer? I don't know, man. What I'm going to do is I'm going to duller it up a little bit. I kind of want this little dull kind of thing going, man. A little bit more dull, but not totally dull. I'm going to take some old turtle wax, man. Woo, turtle wax, man. Some old paste wax and just some super fancy steel wool, man. And just, you know what I mean? Buff it with that steel wool. It'll bring a little bit of the sheen down. 23%. See when that's darn. Darn it. There you go. Took a little bit of the edge off, you know what I mean? A little bit less shine, a little bit less time, man. So now we're going to take this old 70s lemon oil, man. Let's go over everything. Everything. Especially this real. Look how dry that is. Oh, I'm so dry, I'm parched. Everything. Lemon oil, do your stuff. Wake your magic, Wilbert. Alright, so we put the oil on. Seeped in real quick over here, especially. I might even put a little bit more on. Let's just let this set for a little while. I want the oil to dry before we do the next thing. In the meantime, this weird, like, rot. See, somebody threw up inside of here. Many years ago. I don't know what the fuck that is. Kind of rot. Putridness, man. I don't want to damage this label, though. You know what I'm saying? The label's like 90 years old. So, I got some bottle brushes here. Different kinds. These are bendable. This one's not one of my favorite, man. Corporate bottle brush. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put them on there dry and see if I can get some of that shit out of there. Maybe a couple of them wet. You know what I mean? See what we can do. Put the hair dryer, you know what I mean, ready. I don't want it to stay wet in there too long. Let's check it out. See that? We got it all out, man. We got it all out. So let's bring this guy out to the garage, man. Shop vac that out. We got all kinds of weird stuff in there. Miscellaneous stuff from the millennia. Let's get it out. There it is, folks. All cleaned out, vacuumed out. We got our innards all preserved for all time's sake. Man, we're good, man. It's a good moment in time. But if you're actually in person with this instrument, it has like kind of like a dull kind of lifeless kind of, you know what I'm saying? Like it feels like it's been neglected a little bit. You know what I'm saying? All the pledge in the world isn't helping this motherfucker. Got some butcher's wax here. Now 2 or 3 coats of this motherfucker will make this guy spit shining like the gymnasium floor on September 1st. You know what I'm saying? Back in school days, man. I mean, it is, for after all, bowling alley wax. You know what I'm saying? But if you put on like 1 coat, it'll just knock off that haze a little bit. Maybe 2 coats on the fretboard just to get it. Right? You like the. So see when that's all butchered up, man. Hey man, you got the butcher covered, bruh? You got the meat, man? You got the mutts? And there it is, man. Beautiful, beautiful perfection. Gorgeousness. Put a little bit of mineral oil also while we put that butcher's wax on the fretboard. Sort of mix them in together like that. So look at these knobs here real quick, man. Oh, dirty, man. Oh, dirty birds they are, as well as this nut, man. We'll just go out with that nut, man. After we got you all clean, let's just clean them both off. A little piece of this magic erase sponge and some hydrogen peroxide for my tooth, man. I'll show you when that's all limpioed, meaning cleaned. Do you see that? Do you see that? How beautiful they look, man? Gorgeous. Look at this guy. Like a new man. Peroxide doing wonders for your tooth and your bone, man. Let's clamp him on, man. Clamp him on, and I'll talk to you after he's all clamped out. Alright, so it's the next day. Take off this old clamper. The old clamp stamper. Looks like that's good, man. Centered. Perfect. Right on. So there's one more thing. I have to put a little weight on there. Didn't fall off the side. We want to deal with right now. We got the saddle now. The saddle is just going to be a little piece of neck binding. So we want it to be as low as possible, the action. Just slide that guy in there and cut it off. A real wide sort of slot in there. And this is kind of thin, but not going to go anywhere. So let's cut this to size. And I'll see you in a second. Un segundo, senor. Alright, so I got the little piece cut and I got the little ends rounded off. Slightly, I mean, nothing great. Now, as I said before, you know what I mean, this slot is pretty incredibly large, you know, and this one around there. Now it'll probably be okay. You know what I mean? I probably, you know what I mean, just making a mountain out of a molehill. But I like to do that kind of stuff. And I just want to show you, this is an incredibly wide slot. I got 3 saddles in the drawer from over, 30 years of, you know what I mean, collecting saddles. And these are the fattest 3 I got, and all of them swim around in here, man. This is like the fattest one. So I couldn't even trim it down like a proper saddle. We'd have the same results. What I did, man, I've had a popsicle stick, which along with this is the exact same, you know what I mean, the same width as that little valley in there. I cut a little piece off with these wonderfully sharp scissors here. I'm going to, you know what I mean, carefully give this a little bit of a walnut hue with my walnut finishing marker and put it right behind there. The intonation's not going to be really affected by that. And this will be totally flat down. A low, nice little saddle. I'll show you when we're all saddled out, man. Saddle bagger. And there it is, folks. Doesn't that look great? Can't see nothing, man. Okay, I want you to see it, though. Because I want you to see I did something. You see it? Now you can see it. I did something, Ma. So we're done here, man. You want to hear it? You want to know about it, man? You want to feel it? Why don't we put on some of these old coppers? Old copper cheapers. The cheaper beepers, man. This is the kind of strings that are on my first guitar. You know what I'm saying? I'll turn that flash on so you can see that luxurious copper look. It's great, man. There we go, man. See the glamour shots, right? Don't you want to feel glamorous? Just for a minute. 7-11 fret. What's up, kid? See you in a second. And there it is, people. What a formidable guitar, man. I can see why this guy liked it. I saw one, you know what I mean, on Reverb, but like a closed listing from about a year ago. Very similar looking. But some differences. Basically same size, same shape, same kind of headstock. Have the same round over, same color. But it seemed to be maybe made by Oscar Schmidt. Maybe it was this one and he tried to fix it up real nice, because I saw he did a good job restoring it. This one's good enough though, man. So I hesitated putting these phosphor bronze coppers on there, man. You know what I'm saying? That's actually an innovation by my man Jim D'Addario. The guy who sold those clarinet reeds, man. Legend, man. I think 1974 he's the one who came out with the coppers, man. It was just basically copper strings cut with a little bit of phosphorus, man. Phosphorus is what they put in like Coca-Cola, you know what I mean? Keep it brown, I believe, man. Phosphoric acid, man. Some shit like that, man. Nope. Man, I ain't no scientist, man, but they put phosphorus. They cut the copper with phosphorus. The gold strings, I think those are just regular bronze, man. It's probably really brass. Technically, but I think that's, they call it bronze. 80-20s, man. 80 copper, 20% tin, maybe. Something like that. Should have put nylon strings on it, man. Now, nylon strings, they have like pretty much copper wound and silver plated. That's the way they roll, man. Although, the earth wound ones, you know what I'm saying, they have the 80-20 bronze on there. It's a little bit brighter, a little bit more beautiful. But these, man, these phosphor coppers, man. Phosphor copper. They fucking sound gorgeous, man. They make a sad song and make it better. It's not like a great instrument, but I can see why this guy loved it. It's just a comfortable, homey kind of feel thing. Homey feeling shit, man. You know what I mean? It looks great. You know, it looks like an old piece of furniture, man. You know what I mean? It's definitely more like, you know what I mean, we're getting into the museum piece thing, man. So there it is, man. Pimco Collegiate, man. Let's hear it, man. Take care of yourself. Look after yourself. Be good to yourself. Peace be with you. All that stuff, man. And there it is, folks. The Pimco Collegiate acoustic guitar. Right about 1935, man. I'm not going to split hairs. It could be 33, it could be 34, 37, 38. Right around 1935, man. And it was about 10 years ago, right around this time of the year, that I saw the last real big person concert in my life, man. And I decided I'm not going to see any more concerts after this concert. I went to the Beach Boys with my mom and my dad, you know what I'm saying, when the Beach Boys reunited in 2012, you know what I mean, and you know, I had a great seat, you know, Brian Wilson was there, Mike Love, everybody was on good behavior. It was a great concert, you know what I'm saying. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. I've never gone to another real concert since then. I saw the Fresh Beat Band in 2014. That wasn't for me, though. You know what I'm saying? It was enjoyable, though. But anyway, man, that's Beach Boys, I think, are really like an underrated band, underrated for the wrong reason. I really think that Brian Wilson losing his mind after Pet Sounds, you know what I'm saying, really actually was a benefit. I love the Beach Boys, everything from Pet Sounds through the Beach Boys Love You, especially all the quirky stuff in the late 60s, early 70s, when Brian sort of stepped back. You know what I'm saying? When Brian stepped back, this team sort of emerged. Like Mike and Al writing the songs, and Carl, like, you know what I'm saying, producing and shit and like cleaning it up. That kind of made the band into a real band as opposed to Brian and his puppets. You know what I'm saying? There's still, you know, contributions from Bruce and from Dennis and of course Brian, you know, but the Fab Three there of Al, Carl, and Mike sort of led the Beach Boys for a good 30 years until Carl died, you know what I'm saying? Think about it, man. Think about it, man. So there's one song from 1970. Carl and the Passions is one of my favorites, written by Mike and Al. Now, Mike had gotten Al into transcendental meditation, man, transcendent, whatever it is, man, the Maharishi, man. You remember, Mike went to India with the Beatles, man. He was real down with that, you know, meditational theory, man. And Al wasn't into drugs, he wasn't into drinking, he was just sitting there, like, you know what I mean, complaining, I guess. Mike's like, stop complaining, Al, you know what I mean? Why don't you just meditate a little bit, bro? Sit in the corner, close your eyes, and just go, just be quiet. Now I want you to play a couple of chords on your guitar and make up some lyrics, man. Carl, I want you to throw some shit in. This is one song that they came up with together that I think is one of the Beach Boys' greatest compositions, man. Day breaks and I take a glide into the pool of peace inside, to ways and out of travel by golden auras glow around you. Omnipresent love surrounds you. Wisdom warming as the sun. You and I are truly one. To ways and out travel by, and that makes all the difference to me. Hey, man. Piece of chance, Beach Boy. I love you, man. And now, Marty, we must go 100 years more in the past. Not 1935, 1835. We must find my uncle, the great Michael Jackson McBrown, and find his guitar. He's going to be probably hanging out with a bunch of teenage boys. Look for him. He's got a guitar with a headstock shaped like an ovation. He lives in Vienna. Marty, my future depends on it. I can't stress this enough. Marty, oh my God, they found me. I don't know how, but they found me. Run for it, Marty!